Okay, so my awake friends, this is a very short video on what you can do to prepare for what is coming, something that you can buy now for a handful of dollars that will be worth more than gold soon. Um, so I think that all of us that are aware of where things are headed are already preparing or have been preparing for years in some cases for, among other things, massive food shortages, the devaluation of our money, etc., etc. So, if you don't think there's going to be food shortages and your money's going to be worthless, then you can stop watching right now. If you do, then I've got some advice for you, because it's a great challenge to know what to do, how to overcome it. One of the things that many awake people are doing is buying gold, and I think that's probably a good idea. Not everyone can afford gold, but it's if you've got the money, I think it's a good idea to have gold or silver, land, own your own house. Those kind of things are all going to be helpful. But I'm going to tell you something right now that you can do right now that will be more valuable than gold in the event that when all these things happen. Okay, so what most of us envisage coming, especially for those people in the US and the European, the rich free world, the UK, France, Germany, all these kind of countries. So we're going to have, and I think it's going to happen this year. I suspect maybe the end of September, not sure, but we're going to have a number of events happening. One of them is that you just can't get food. And by the way, part of their destruction of the food industry, where was it that they were making it illegal to grow your own food somewhere? I can't think where, right off the top of my head. But they are doing everything they can to break the infrastructure. Well, it's already broken, but they're continuing to break it further, and that's going to impact us at some point. I think here in Brazil, not so much, because we've got lots and lots of people here that have their own animals, grow their own food. It's very, very widely done here. It's going to be a little bit more protected. But for those of you that live, especially in cities where you all your food comes from the store, you're going to be in trouble when there is no food in the store. Okay, so one of the things that people are doing is they're obviously preparing by buying food with a long shelf life, things like rice and pasta and preserved meats and beans, dried beans, and all this kind of thing. That's great. What I wanted to recommend in this video is you've got to understand that when you're preparing your storage of food, that's great, but you also are going to need to buy stuff that you haven't got, right? And if money's worthless, how are you going to do that? So gold is one possibility, but gold is, if you want to, I don't know, you want to buy a piece of meat, a chop or something, that's going to be a tricky transaction with gold. So you need to have things that you can more readily trade. Okay, so what can you have that people will want that you can use to trade for food, for example? Food is the thing that you're going to need the most, right? So what can you trade for food that people will definitely want and will be prepared to switch? Let's say you've got somebody who's got some animals, and so that they've got meat, and you want that meat. What can you trade? You're not going to probably be able to trade with gold, depending on various circumstances, but what you can definitely trade with is food, right? You can trade food for food, right? So, for example, if you right now buy rice and you've got more rice than you need, you're going to be able to trade your rice for other stuff, not just food, anything that you need, fuel, whatever. There's not that many things that you actually absolutely need. But so what I want you to consider is that do not stock up to feed yourself, but bear in mind that preserved food is going to be something you can barter with. There's not going to be much that people want when they're starving other than food. So that's going to be the most valuable commodity that you can have is food. Okay, so any kind of food, and some foods will be more valuable than others. But any kind of food that you can access now and store up that's preserved and is going to last, that is going to be the best thing that you will have to barter with. Okay, so what I would, so I just want to put into people's minds this idea that food is going to be money. Okay, so get plenty of it. Now, there's some one of the, so rice is one. I recommend the for those of you that see my stuff, the Super Greens, which is a 44 superfoods, in a powder that you can add to water. That is an amazing food product that has all the vitamins, all the minerals. So that's super cool. If you've got loads of that, people aren't going to have that, right? They might have rice. They're not going to have that. They're not going to have fruits and veggies. That's masses of fruits and veggies. One scoop is 33 servings of fruits and veggies. If you've got tons of that, you've got some gold, or more valuable than gold, right? Because people will want that desperately. So get food that people are going to want. Of course, you want it yourself. Even at the end of the day, worst case scenario, nobody wants it. You're not able to buy it. I don't know. For some reason you can't do it. Then you can use it for yourself. Having more food is not that's with a long shelf life is not going to be a bad thing any which way you look at it. And all the food, as the money increases and inflation goes up, is going to cost more and more and more. So the sooner you do that before the ultimate crash, the sooner you do that, the cheaper it will be. Okay, so what's going to be more valuable than food? What are people than gold? What are people going to, if you're starving, do you want gold? Do you want food? You can't even do anything with gold unless you can purchase food, right? The gold is going to be useless unless it can actually get what you actually want, which is going to be food and water, and shelter. Probably you'll have shelter anyway, but food and water you're going to need. So there you have it. Better than gold, food. If you want information on the super greens that I'm talking about, I can share that. But of course, any food that's preserved is going to be helpful. I just think that's the very best because it's 44 superfoods of fruits and veggies and algae and mushrooms and all of that. So all of which is going to be difficult to get. That's one way of getting it. So there you have it. Hope that's been helpful. Bye.